Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in three, two, one.
Hello and welcome.
On the troll.
You know what? When you get used to things, doing things in a certain way, and then all of a sudden they start doing things in a different way, then you start panicking. Well, that's what was happening. We could have been here, 7 minutes earlier. Yeah. So, look, Emily, today it was a day. I don't know what you got today. I also wrote whatever that I got. You'll see, but icon. It's getting harder and harder and harder to deal with this man, and not that we always blame him. The judge is getting hard and hard to deal with him, to tolerate him actually, because you need to be able to have that skin of tolerance.
Hi, this one, he's at a 2.0 level. What judge lo? Hi, Shem. Hi, ngimgumlela isiqhoko. Yeah.
He was given too much glory.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those that can execute a task. And it's becoming more visible, the reason why he's here and presiding over this case. It has nothing to do with us. Unfortunately, guys, let's roll with the roller coaster.
You know, people say that he's making sure that these people, they pull their socks up. People say a lot of things. He does research when it comes to work. That's what we thought
at the beginning, but turns out,
Icon. What I'm seeing, what I'm seeing here, it's totally different. What I'm seeing, it sounds and it looks like someone who's like kind of closing loopholes. You know, and why do I say that? Someone who has a predetermined decision that perhaps he's already taken, and he's fighting his way
to
that and saying, I went through everything. Why do I say that? He always, if he feels that the state did not debunk certain things, he does that himself.
Yes.
Other than seeming like he's testifying for the witness, he debunks the theories that are put there
by the
himself.
Defense.
And that is someone who's saying, I want to make sure that I went through everything, such that if you think that I did this thing wrong, but I was looking at both sides, not actually even both sides, but basically it's like you're saying, I had nothing to rule on because the state, the defense just came and they said whatever that they said, but they were challenged. But while you are challenging yourself, you see the issue of changing, of being able to change things in a gun. That's a big issue.
Yeah,
considering
that one he
considering that the gun, the seal bag was open. You know, that's a big issue.
It's a big issue.
You cannot ignore it. But you know what he does towards the end? He starts quoting textbooks and agreeing with Mr. Master.
And in quoting that textbook, one has to wonder if it's not one of the textbooks he was asking for from that advocate who sits next to Advocate Baloyi. One has to wonder.
You know,
that textbook comes from.
He starts talking about.
I'm just saying.
He starts talking about those things. You know, he starts talking about how difficult it is to actually do that. No, I grew up in an environment where my father had one. He was changing that thing in front of me while we were still alive. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
My father had 2 also.
So I don't know what this man is saying. That's why I asked that question, because I know for sure that these things can be changed, and it's not hard, man. It's not rocket. A simple thing to clean a gun. It's not a rocket science.
No, it's not.
To grease it and put the oil that is needed for the gun to function properly. It's not a rocket science. If you can do that, you can almost change
The barrel.
the barrel.
You have to clean it. Guns are cleaned. They are. And you break them into pieces. I used to see my father do it. I was a small child back then, but I used to see him do it. He would open it into pieces and be cleaning it.
It just doesn't make sense the way he's dealing with this case. But I guess the clever people, we probably are dumb. The clever people are saying, yeah, he's doing his great. Look, from a layman's person like me, a lay person like me,
decision, yeah.
There seem to be a decision.
We're just watching. The decision is already made, yeah. We're just watching. And we can only point out so much, and we're about to do that today.
And I mean, honestly, today, in terms of that barrel, they were cornered. But he comes back and he talks about what needs to be done, complicates it even more.
Makes it sound like it's rocket science.
When
it's not. It's not. It's really not.
And I was just reading. There's this case of some guy who decided to take his father's life and a wife on different days. The evidence there, it was ballistic, and it was chased by PCF, I think. It was ballistic, and there was what is it that actually? What is it? This thing that tells you about where the car is? What is it?
GPS.
GPS. That's it. Is it GPS? Tracker.
Yes.
Sorry, tracker.
Oh, tracker.
Yes, that's what they used
to find where he was.
Yes. And then guess who was a judge there?
Who?
Him. And I'm not saying he didn't do it. He did it because he was chased. But seemingly, this gun, we have a gun here that by fire, by force, he says it is that gun. In not so many ways, he's just said that. Is this not the gun that you tested? It is the gun. What is contained in that gun, whether it's still the original parties, that does not matter. The color of the gun and the cover of the gun, that's what matters to this judge. It is that gun and the handwriting of that man.
And also yesterday, I know we didn't go live, guys. There wasn't much, but yesterday I was very worried when Ramosepele now mentioned the ballistic expert that they had contacted. What I'm looking at, it seems like some information should not even be disclosed,
Yeah.
I was very concerned about when he shared the diary of when this ballistic expert had...
But he's the one who's asking it. And because he's the one who's going...
Ramosepele can say, I don't know. I'll have to talk to him.
But if you say that now, he's going to rule something. Remember, he's in charge there. He's going to be the one saying that, okay, I'm giving you that time, or no, I'm not giving you that time. But what I'm thinking they should do, they should get an expert, give that name, but put it as a decoy and not go to that person.
Because,
while they are buying time using that person, they should come up with another person who's going to help them more closely.
It would be great if they could get an international person on that.
You see, it was the first time, and someone's saying it was the first time since this case started that I saw Steve Ovo losing it. You know, it was a first time. That means you are doing wonders. I mean,
doing the most.
that man is always calm.
Calm. We are doing the most. If
Respectful,
you can
calm,
get
respectful.
Ramasipili to react. You are doing the most, Shem.
Even this guy, Ngumalo.
Yes. Ngumalo was
grew stronger today. You know, like at least he waited for an answer. After all the lecturing, he was like, but I still want you to answer. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere.
So yeah, it would be better if it came from the witness, my lord. It would be better. And I quote from Shololo. It would be better if it came from the witness. But not in that courtroom. That courtroom, the judge will fagaza on behalf of the witnesses.
I mean, the start.
The focus returned back to the gun, which ballistic expert Christian Mangena said fired the projectile that was found at the scene, and the one that Colonel Mhlahlo found behind the glass jars on the following morning after the incident back in October 26, 2014. The state called Warrant Officer Cornelius Rolfse. Attached to the ballistic unit, he examined the firearm that Mangena testified on, which was found in accused number 3, Mthokozisi Maphisa room in 2015. Rolfse had testified in other cases in High Court, regional courts, and others, and he went through his job spec. Rolfse went through a list of courses that he completed, the use of microscopic equipment, microscopic individualization of ammunition, fired bullets and cartridge cases, acquisition of fired cartridges, cases and fired bullet data, IBIS, integrated ballistic identification system, techniques associated with recovering and restoration processes of the obliterated numeric figures on metal. So this is the etching stuff. And Baloy started off by asking what is the common term that is used for this process, and Rolf said it's an etching of a firearm, and he has been attached to the ballistic unit since 2001. Rolf says that he has been in the police service for about 37 years and 22 years in the ballistic section, and on the 13th of February 2015, and we have to please note that Ncube, I think, was arrested on the 12th of February 2015. I received a seal evidence back with a number FSE 385083 containing 9mm parabellum caliber CZ model 75 semi-automatic pistol with a serial number obliterated and marked it 34369/15 and 1 magazine. Now, Baloy asked if he recognized the exhibit, and Drew said he could identify it and the lab number. So the exhibits were placed in front of him when he was on the witness box. So they use a lab number under the trigger guard to identify firearms with no serial numbers. He says the moment the firearms with no serial numbers arrive at his desk at the lab, he has to give them a lab number. So he also received 18 9mm parabellum caliber cartridges which were not marked, and then 10 9mm short cartridges which were also not marked. So Rolf said he remembers the blue box because he wrote on it with his handwriting. So Rolf said the intention and scope of this examination comprised of the following: the identification of ammunition, firearm mechanism, examination techniques associated with recovering and restoration processes of obliterated numeric figures on metals. It was cartridges that had not been used and not bullets that he worked on. Please note that as well.
Yes.
Cartridges that had not been used.
Yes.
And not bullets that he worked on.
That's why he could not pick, even if it was there, he could not pick it because of that,
Yes.
as it is alleged.
Yes, the bullets were marked and fired in the same pistol received. Baloyi asked, the ammunition that you used for testing purposes, what type of ammunition did you use? And Rofse said he used the 9mm caliber, and the bullet consisted of an FMJ full metal jacket. So Baloyi asked, what type of ammunition is a full metal jacket? And Rofse said it's a thick copper jacket that is surrounding the internal part of the bullet that consists of lead. It's a thicker and heavier copper jacket around the lead. And even Mangena testified to say that it's mostly used in the military or police services.
It says this is the one of the strongest, right?
One of the strongest. It has the hard copper surface. So Baloyi then asked, are you familiar with a CMJ or a complete metal jacket? And Rofse said, I am. There's also a copper jacket that's around the lead part of the bullet, but it's much thinner than the FMJ jacket. So the FMJ is much harder and thicker. CMJ is a much thinner copper jacket that surrounds the bullet. They tested the firearm to see if it's in a working condition, and then that test will be kept in the docket so it cannot be used, so that it can be used for future comparison with other cases or exhibits that come in. So the first thing that he says they do is to test if the firearm is actually working.
Yeah. So just a minute, let me give an idea here. I see people saying that can't we raise fines and all that. My suggestion is that if people want to raise fines, they must be in contact with one of those lawyers that are there and use them. Use their account. I think it's better that way so that we don't have wish. And then people can pour there.
Yes.
If they come up with something
or
like that.
open a GoFundMe and then have the lawyers contact the lawyers to say, we've collected this much.
Where does the GoFundMe keep the money?
GoFundMe, they keep it on their site, on their thing.
Oh.
It's not so easy to claim it, so you need to prove. That's why I'm suggesting it, because it has, processes. You can't just have opened it and then take out the money. You must provide a reason as to what is happening and why. So before they release the money, they need to check everything. So it would be best, because hey,
it's better to put it away. I'll definitely put mine there if someone does an initiative like that, and there's a proof that there's people these lawyers know about it.
Yeah, and there's proof that they can withdraw the funds.
Yes.
So I think it would be best that way, because guys, it's very difficult to run such. It's a full-time job. So no, I can't do it. Contact the lawyers, and maybe they have a better way of working. So where was I? Then the test will be kept in the docket so that it can be used for future comparison with other cases or exhibits that come in, so that you test to compare the bullets or the cartridge cases with other exhibits or cases. Now, he explained the electromagnetic etching process, and honestly, his explanation didn't make sense to me. He spoke of ink, he spoke of something. I was like, I don't understand what he's talking about. But we move. He kept the exhibits in custody under lock and key from the 13th of February 2015 to the 18th of February 2015. So this was not long, hey? He ran his test. It took about a week, and then he returned them to the storeroom where Mjali, right? That storeroom that Mjali was talking about, where he kept the exhibit from 2015 up until 2020. Right? So they asked him, did you do any further work on exhibits mentioned in paragraph 10.2 after the 18th of February? And Rofse says, yes, my lord, I did comparisons with one station, and then I did comparisons again with several stations, and then I opened it for the court case. So he says the only time he opened it was in 2018.
Yes.
when he had to appear for the court case. So that's when he opened it, just before 2020.
To fill the court chart or something like that.
Yes, to make a court chart. So he made entries in the SAP 5, and he opened sealed bags. And then for the Alexandra case, 501, I didn't hear the rest of the case number. And then on the 11th of August 2015, he opened the exhibit PA something to compare with 5 other labs. So just before 2018, in 2015, he had to open it again for comparison with other cases. So he says he opened the seal back again for court preparation. 2016, the 29th of January, he opened it for court preparation for the Alexandra case. And then he opened the bag to take photos of the exhibits and to compare the exhibits and make a court charge. Then he sealed them again and returned them to the lab. So Baloyi referred him to Mangena's affidavit to confirm the seal bag number. And it's the same, it's the PA whatever from the Cleveland case. And he says it's the same seal bag number. So this is the seal bag number that he was working on, and he says he received it sealed. So the cross-examination was done. Then Ramusipili cross-examined the witness, and he started off by asking, in your experience, have you seen 2 firearms to be the same? And Rofte says it may be the same class characteristics, but there will be a difference in the markings.
Yeah.
Ramusipili then asked, in your experience, how many Czech ZC759 millimeter Luger firearms have you fired to see whether they leave the same consistency, class, and individual characteristics? And the judge said, sorry, this witness is clear. He says there may be a correlation or a coinciding of class characteristics, but not with individuals, not with individual characteristics, not like fingerprints. Yeah, that is what the witness is conveying. So in other words, there are no firearms that doesn't matter their names will have the same individual characteristics. And Ruofse said, that's correct, my lord. Now, if there's anything Judge Rata will do is to fight for his witnesses. Okay.
Yeah, but he fights more for certain witnesses.
Especially the ones of no color. He will make sure. He will testify on their behalf, honey. He will go the extra mile if he feels like they won't be able to answer certain questions. Okay? He'll even sprinkle with a little bit of Afrikaans.
And it has to be a feeling that they don't need to answer that question. It doesn't have to be them saying that
He will
I
give them the
cannot answer that.
confidence. The confidence to not answer the question. If there's one thing that he will do. And this should give you the kind of individuals of color who made it during the times pre-1994 in life. It must give you a picture of that. We'll say, why was he thriving in the legal fraternity?
Let us go. I'm not gonna.
So Ruofa says,
I don't want that part. No.
So Ruofa says, when examining firearms, the results on class characteristics could be the same, but the individual characteristics would invariably be different. So Ramasipele said, multiple guns are designed to chamber the same ammunition. And Rofse said, yeah, you got the Glock, the CZ, Beratile, they all shoot 9mm parabellum, or whatever caliber it was designed for it to fire. But there's different makes that can also shoot 9mm parabellums, and that will be different class characters or characteristics. So a Luger 9mm parabellum and NATO, we're talking of one cartridge. They're interchangeable. So Ramusipele asked, can a revolver use a 9mm cartridge? And Rolfse says, which revolver? The judge was laughing at this point at the mentioning of a revolver, and Ramsepele said 38 special, and Rolfse said no, my lord, because a 9mm
that should tell you. That should tell you, Emma, that if he's laughing, he finds this thing funny. Like, what are you talking about? There was no revolver there. Yes, they said they saw the gun with the wheel, but let me tell you, that thing does not matter. What matters is that they have what they believe is a gun. If it needs belief at all.
Get with the program, guys. Get with the program. Rolfster said, no, my lord, because a 9mm cartridge is thicker and wouldn't fit in the 38 special revolver.
Oh yeah, you know what I've seen. You see, is it a rifle bullet? Mm-hmm. I have seen it being used in a 9mm.
How? Okay.
I'm telling you, as I was saying, so when I was there, I think at the time, that man was a mechanic. I don't know, but I'm sure there was a way. There is a way you can use that. Legally, no, I would say no, but illegal way of doing it. I'm sure there's always a way, man.
No, he found a way.
It takes, if it's Kongwa Kukwasha.
What is it, Kwasha?
It's a man-made gun.
A man-made gun.
I think there's the one that the judge was throwing shade about KZN, and I find that offensive, though. He's following in the footsteps of what our beloved minister said.
I actually remember he's the one who was saying that there are Africans who want to decolonize Western knowledge. Wasn't he the one? The same one.
It was very strange that you sit in a high court and you start talking things like that without any proof. Seeing one person does not mean that that's KZN.
And everybody does it.
It just does not mean that. But well and good. It's okay.
So pointing to a damage on the door, Rolfer says that the mark looks like a bullet mark. He says that I was not there on the scene, but I think the energy of the bullet would have been lost as it went through the victim's body. Now, Rolfer, how do you know it went through the victim's body?
I don't know. Because the same people are saying that they couldn't test the human DNA on that
There's
bullet
no DNA
because it could have because of assumption that it could have been wiped by even wind. It could have been wiped by clothes that man was wearing.
And the speed and the
and
wind.
the speed and before you realize DNA sleeps.
It's gone.
It sleeps DNA. It's not fluid. It's not.
The t-shirt can wipe it. That's what he said. The t-shirt can wipe the DNA off.
Imagine.
I used to watch the channel of the crime thingies when I was younger, and I still had time in my younger days. There's this glowing spray that they would spray, and then where there's been blood, it would glow and be blue. Even if you washed it with bleach. I don't know if you've seen it, Mr. Anonymous.
Let's forget about the blood. DNA sits in.
No, I'm surprised at the fact that they're quick to dismiss certain things that are of value, like that house in Vosloorus, for example. Why didn't they use that spray of glowing in the dark that even after you've cleaned, it can still glow where there was.
Can it work with the metal?
I think so. You need to put it in a dark room and spray. It can.
Why would you think it will work with metal? Metal compared to a house, like something like.
But if it's on a
wall.
kitchen sink in a house, they can still find it, even if you've cleaned it with bleach. That's
Okay.
how powerful that chemical is. So I don't hear much of it being mentioned.
But to even argue about all those things that are, I mean, seriously are not material at this point in time. If these people did their job properly, they took that bullet that they believe it went through Senzo, and they took it for DNA test and that did everything without assumption.
Without assuming.
We wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Because we would know for sure that bullet that they are busy testing is exactly the bullet that went through Senzo's body.
So Ruofse really shocked me when he spoke with conviction that that bullet went through the victim's body. And he says there's a chance that the bullet might still be in a good condition because it would have lost energy.
Echoing what was said
Mangena
by
was
the
saying.
colleague.
Yes. He said, my lord, going through the body could cause the bullet to start stumbling. And Ramasepele said, the exhibit that is in front of you, on which side, if you fire, does it eject cartridges? And Rotse said to the right-hand side. So according to Mangena, or to his observations, 2 shots were fired in the confines of the kitchen, and after a thorough search, the cartridges were not found. Asked why the cartridges may not be found on a crime scene, Ruofse says that there is a possibility that a cartridge could be stuck in the firearm. But if there were 2 shots, I cannot know what could have happened to the other cartridge. I don't know how it got lost on the scene.
The colleague said it could have ran with someone's clothes. So you are now giving another definition of saying that we are not going to answer any calls, guys. I see someone is calling here. If you are banning, come down. We'll give you a chance. What I can say is that you see, this phone even disturbed me. Continue.
Okay, so he's trying to support the argument of his colleague and asked what are the chances of, through swabbing, through testing by other people, of you not finding the blood or biological matter in a bullet that has perforated a victim. And Ruofse said, I don't know if they will find DNA on that thing because it moved by velocity through the body. They may find it or they may not find it. I don't know. I won't elaborate on that, my lord. Guys. Yeah. Ramasipili then said, if, for example, in this kitchen there's evidence that led that there was a scuffle between the victims, and the judge said, Mr. Ramasipili, this is an expert. If you want him to assist this court and assist you, you must give him the full scenario. Tell him what Mangena said, what happened to the gun that perforated the deceased.
Yo, the
It
guy was
unstable.
fighting today.
It did what it went. It went where? Don't ask the witness trick
Kuri,
questions, please.
He had to go. He had to take a break himself today without being told. He just, normally he would be told, hey, my lord, it's... But today, because he was pumped up.
Hey, EBP. And at this point, he had anger on his face, and you could literally see that he is angry.
If you start reacting to this treatment and you really start to react, you'll see your so-called black lawyers, what, forum, or what, I don't know what these things are, talking in SABC or something there with their expect whatever. But now they are quiet.
What can they say?
No, they should double standard. You can't. You are quiet. This man is. You can see this man is doing wonders to these people. It's like they are his kids. They are young kids.
The only person that they are free to talk about is Advocate Tifo. The rest,
see, with Tifo, they were there analyzing what you call that
the
thing.
rest, they're like, I don't know what will happen.
No, there's that
if you
one. There's that
actually-
one guy who always speaks there on when they were dealing with thief. That guy who I don't know is a leader of what in this law society, or is a leader of law society. I think so.
Okay, where is he now?
He's the one who was telling us all these nitty-gritties of what could happen, what could go wrong.
Decorum
And
of the presiding officer.
In fact, he was reprimanding D for there. Can he do it now? Can he go on and say, no, this judge needs to come down?
He has to come down. And he asked Rolf, you don't know what happened to that bullet, do you? This is the judge now. And Rolf said, yeah, my lord.
After you've answered for him, now you put a question to top it all. Because, I mean, you have given the hint.
But he knows. Earlier he testified that it went through the victim's body, did he not?
Do you understand?
So why umkhulumela for ini? How? The judge said, give the expert the whole scenario so that he can use his expertise to assist the court and yourselves. And Ramasipili said, with all due respect, I have said if he can comment. If he cannot comment, I'm not trying to trick the witness, my lord. It takes a lot to get that answer from Ramasipili, hey? Check yourself. Check. Judge then said, fine, but give him the scenario, please. And the judge interfered with Ramasipili's
when he refused to give him the scenario, he finished it all. Because he hears everything, he doesn't miss anything. Come on, that judgment. They told him he's too smart, eh? You know...
Rolf said what Mangena testified is that the door was not complete. Okay, this is the judge now explaining the entire scenario to Mr. Rolf. He says that they said that the door was not completely shut, and that is the reason why the bullet did not penetrate. And he did that with hands gesture thing where he namas, where he's showing that he's annoyed. And then Rolf said at an angle it could be possible for that ricocheting from the door to go to any place in the room. However, he cannot say where. So the bullet, is it lying on the floor where it was found? Asked Ramasipili. Another thing you can't rule out is if it's moving or trying to help the person and stuff, they can kick the bullet around as well as we don't know.
You see what the experts are doing? The experts are expanding the scenarios.
If they kicked the bullet, it could have been found.
It's like pick up what you want, take what you want, leave what you don't want.
It could have been found in that scene, honestly speaking. So Ramasipili then said, preparation of Mr. Mangena's report for this case, did he consult you regarding what you've done on this? And Rolf said, no, this is the first time I heard that when I was subpoenaed by the court that he was going to this case. So he was subpoenaed. Moment of silence.
So that means he was refusing.
It means that they literally dragged him on that witness stand. Yeah, he was not willing to come and testify. So it means they literally dragged him and he had no choice.
He had to come.
So Rolf says after the etching process to determine the serial number of the firearm, the number disappears and cannot be seen with the naked eye. This on the basis that the serial number cannot be seen on the firearm that was brought to court. Then Sipho Ramasipili concluded his cross-examination. And the judge said allegedly this bullet landed not on the floor but behind the jar. Rolf said it's possible that it could have landed behind those glass jars. Now I was less than impressed with the emphasizing that it was planted to this witness in particular, when Ramasipili did not even bring that argument up to the witness, Mr. Judge.
Yeah, the guy seems, the judge, I don't know whether he didn't get enough exposure to fame when he was playing soccer. I don't know.
Or for something. Hint, hint, wink, wink. There are still other witnesses that are going to come and testify. So who are you hinting to about this scenario that the defense is arguing? Why do you always have to emphasize on it and bring it up? Even when they are not bringing it up themselves. So the judge said Mr. Nxumalo says after it landed there, it was removed. Mr. Nxumalo had not even started with his cross-examination at this point. And Mr. Nxumalo stood up to say, not that one, the one that was filed from
And
a 38 revolver.
you see how he says, I listen, but he misses such thing. And I remember this guy Nxumalo said they could have taken the bullet, the original bullet, and replaced it with another bullet.
The original bullet coming from the
And you know
revolver.
what he did, because he doesn't want to listen? He started counting and adding them together. Then how many bullets now? It's 4, 5. That's what he did. I remember very well. He was being difficult during that time. You see, what happens when he's being difficult? He misses things. And then he comes here and tells us, I listen.
I listen. Phela mina ngiyalalela.
What do
Who
you
asked
listen?
you? We don't care. We just want you to be a presiding officer. An honorable one. Okay. Not this whole fagazing thing. We are not used to that. In my life, of the many court cases I've watched, I'm starting to see this for the very first time.
No, it's the first time.
I've never seen it in my life.
The
I've
first time.
never. Ngiqala ukuyibona. It's for the first time that I'm seeing something like this. I've never seen it before. And I can't get used to it. Like, it's unusual. It's very unusual. Then he laughed and said that he was not referring to that one. It's fine. Then Mnisi started with his cross-examination after the short adjournment. And he started off by asking, as part of your resume, you mentioned that you did some training on micro photography. What is that? And Ruofse said that when you have an exhibit to test or compare, you take a photograph to give an illustration to the court what you see in the microscope. And Mnisi asked about the exhibits that he said he did not mark. And Ruofse said in some cartridges there's an examination. You just visually examine them and their ammunition. So if you are asked to examine it completely, then you will take the whole cartridge part so that the bullet is one side of the propellant and the other front cartridge case is on the other side. So Mnisi asked, so in other words, you do your investigations according to the request that you receive. And Ruofse said yes. Mnisi asked, the tests exhibits, cartridges, were they your own cartridges or were they cartridges that you found in that green box? And Ruofse said, no, my lord, we are issued with ammunition. You've got your own stack of ammunition that you use for test purposes. It's just exceptional calibers that are not usually used. Then you can go book it out at the second floor. But usually this is ammunition that is allocated to you to use for test purposes. To answer your question, no, I did not use any of these cartridges that I received. So what he's literally saying is that they receive the bullets or the ammunition. And then they already have samples that are similar to the ones they receive in the exhibits. So when they test using the ones that are in their office, not the ones that they've received.
Yeah?
So that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And Mnisi said, when you fire the first test exhibits, you want to find if the individual or class characteristics are transferred into the test bullet or test cartridges. Is that not so? And Ruofse said, my lord, there is no use in comparing the test bullets to each other. I know it's from the same firearm, but it's of no use to me to have a look at them when only the firearm is received. So in the background, I could hear the judge saying, yeah.
Yeah, today it was, I don't know what energy drink he drank. But yeah, he was pumped up, he wanted, he was even talking. There were sounds, the whole case.
The whole day.
Yeah.
Then Mnisi rephrased the question. The firearm transfers the characteristics to the bullet. So he said in the Alexandra case, there is an exhibit that you received that was allegedly picked up at the scene that you compared with those exhibits that are mentioned in 6.2. And Rolfe said, yes. What were those results? And Rolfe said, I made a few cartridge cases positive to that firearm in that case.
Yeah.
A few cartridges were positive. Ngathi yabona la, Nisi is onto something. I started to picture this in my head. I'm like, what?
And you know, the answer there, given in that manner, this guy wanted to expand, and the judge disturbed him. He said he wanted to say there were only 9 that were matching. The other one that were not matching, they were from other guns. So this was not a one-person thing. Do you understand? There were probably other people there in that scene.
And then he said, are there any other positive results in terms of your investigations that you were able to link with other scenes? And Rolfe said, no. That's the only one that I'm aware of. Then I started to ask myself, so who tested the cartridge for the Foslorus case, Mangena? Because he was using Rolfe's affidavit to support his findings from the tests that he did.
Yeah, you see what I was thinking about that, but now that I'm calm after being hot-blooded, now I'm here. So what could have happened is that when Rolfe was taking those shots, he could have put in even the bullets there after testing them. So that means there's a reference for checking. Do you understand? Because of those bullets,
That had
and also the
cartridges.
bullet and so obviously because he was shooting those bullets himself, he could have. I'm not even sure if that's what he did. He could have just took the cartridges and put them on that IBC system, the used one that he used, and the bullets, which will allow a comparison.
So back to that Alexandra case, did you have to fire extra ammunition? Asking Nisi. Then Rolfe said no. In a storage of these test bullets.
Oh, wait a minute. So he said, and that is Mangena. Mangena said, okay, I had to change the make of bullets. I had to change and use the different one.
Yes.
Which is
A full metal jacket.
full metal jacket. Yes.
But the judge today changed it. He said that's not what he said. But that I know what I heard yesterday. He said that the complete metal jackets that he had received were not giving the results.
What do they
That
get?
he wanted.
What do they get from the police department? Do they use full metal jacket, right?
Yes, but they got both. Even complete metal jackets, they've got them as samples to test. They also have full metal jackets.
Okay.
They are provided for them. So Mangena has
So
said
he said
that
they could not match because of the other one is soft, the other one is hard, and whatnot.
Yes.
So which one was hard, and was it a
the
full?
full one is hard, and then the complete metal jacket is
So
a
it could
softer
not
one.
mark
No,
with those contours.
that's what he said, Mangena.
But the guy, when he was shooting on the scene, that's what now I want to know. When you were testing, it could be bullets or whatever. You used the full metal jacket. So why would a full metal jacket not match if you are using it also to test? Not unless you are saying that the guy used a different
No,
make.
they're saying the guy used the complete metal jacket, the softer one. That's what they're saying, the CMJ.
Okay.
So
In Senzo's scene.
yeah, even in Senzo scene is a CMJ, but they have both. They have a full one and a complete one. And I did even hear Mangena testify that the full metal jackets are with the police and the soldiers.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. So guys, you can correct me if I heard wrong, but that's what I heard and understood. So in a storage of these test bullets and test cartridges, do they sometimes lose shape or wear off what the position was in? Rolfse said no, it's sealed in that seal bag and then it stays there.
But Emily, this guy is saying FMG is the only bullets we receive, are the only bullets that we receive to test, for testing.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Then how come he says he used the CMJ as well? And he didn't use the
CMJ, he
exhibits?
I think he went overboard. Probably it's there, but he went overboard. But they are using mostly FMJ, which is full metal jacket.
Which is what Mangena said he used. But then the judge debunked it today.
Yeah, I listen like a judge.
Uyalalela. So at a later stage, it was Colonel Mangena that opened it. Mnisi asked, Mangena mentioned that he retrieved the exhibits with a view to compare them with exhibits that were found at the Fisokuhle scene. On his determination quest to find if there's a similarity between the exhibits that was found at the Fisokuhle scene and the ones that you fired from this firearm, he found that the markings that were transferred throughout the firing process to the test bullets and the test cartridges were not of such a good quality that it could be enabled to make such determination. Advocate Balloy objected to this, and the judge agreed with him. The judge said, but the way you are phrasing it, Mangena never said that. Mnisi then rephrased the question. He quoted Mangena's report. And I quote, it said, I examined the fired bullets in 3.1 and 4.2 and compared the individual class characteristics marking transferred to them by firearm components during the firing process using a comparison microscope and found 6.1. There is sufficient class characteristics but insufficient individual characteristics marking transfer to these bullets by firearm components during the firing process, which could be due to the difference in bullet materials. As a result, I took a decision to obtain additional tests of the same material as the exhibit bullet. Now he said, and end quote, he said, the reason why there would be insufficient individual characteristics could be because the test bullet and the test cartridges were of a weaker quality. He also referred to the complete metal jacket of a weaker quality. He then used a stronger version, which is a full military jacket, which as it glides through the barrel, it is able to carry all the marks up until the end. Advocate Balloy said it's actually the opposite of what he said. The fact of the matter is they asked Colonel Mangena to stand down, and now they are cross-examining this witness on what Colonel Mangena said.
But
we
he
think
finished.
It's
He finished.
on this witness.
He finished. The only thing that is left is for you to allow them to do the cross-examination. It's not like he was disturbed along the way.
I did not understand Malay's objection today. I'm sorry, I have no comment. I have no comment about this objection. I didn't understand it. Then Robson said he wanted to say something. I cannot testify on what Colonel Mangena said, but what I can say is that the material, I think, because I think the FMJ is very solid and hard copper jacket, and the CMJ is softer. So with the pressure behind the bullet, it expands in the barrel. You will find markings on the FMJ, but not of the quality and as many as on the CMJ, because the CMJ is softer. It picks up more markings in the barrel.
Yes.
Then Nisi said, on the very same exhibits that he fired, the test cartridges and test bullets, you were able to compare the scene exhibits from the Alexandra case without having had to fire another test bullet or some other test bullets in order to make such a comparison. In your opinion, if you were able to compare the scene exhibit from Alexandra without having to fire further test bullets with those that you fired on the 13th of February 2015, why would the tests fired by Mr. Mangena have to require a further firing of tests and cartridge bullets? And Rolf referred to Colonel Mangena's statement, and he said, here we are only talking about the bullets. We're not talking about the cartridges in the Alexandra case. I examined the test cartridge cases with cartridge cases that came from the scene in Alexandra, and that I could make positive. And I was like, wait, let me understand something here. So Mangena conducted his own test with bullets from his lab, took them and compared them with the ones from the Alexandra case that were tested with cartridges, while the bullet from the Phosphorus case had no cartridge. Is that what happened here?
Yeah, you're right, actually, because I remember he said what I was trying to speak on his behalf by saying that he might have used the test. No, he said indeed he used the test to verify the gun, if I remember very well. And then he went on to do other tests. So the test that was done by Rolfs, he used it to actually verify if this is still the same gun. And then that would mean then he actually did the comparison with the Alexander. You've got something there. The Alexander.
That had cartridges.
Yes.
And
yes.
the Phosphorus.
And not unless they tell us that in that Alexander case, they also collected some bullets there. Which could be possible, by the way.
Now, another thing. The alleged bullet in the Phosphorus case is said to have hit the deceased, then the door, and it flew to the kitchen counter. How was the shooting incident of the Alexandra case? Was it similar?
The shooting of?
The victim of the Alexandra case. Was it similar?
In what sense?
Was it a similar incident where a bullet hit the victim, the door, and flew somewhere else?
No. Why would you ask that question?
Because he compared the bullet of the scene of the Alexandra with that of the Phosphorus case.
No, but
So
the bullets are not compared based on how they bounce. They are only compared based on if they are still usable. They allow analysis. It has nothing to do with where it bounced. It
with
could have
which
bounced.
target it hit and how.
What is important is that did it hit that target and it still remains with those contours. It can still be, collaborated with any other bullet of that nature. So the only reason, for example, why the one of the TAS will say it is a non-factor in this case because it broke when it hits that hard surface. So
And
it's
another
difficult to
question
compare.
I have, were the ones for Alexandra tested for DNA?
Probably they were, but you
We
need
don't
to.
know that.
No, that's the thing. What you are missing is that you open that door, this judge gets excited.
Because he wants you to
He wants that
open
Alexander
the
case.
Alexandra case.
Unless they take a decision and say, Let us go that road.
Then the judge said Rosa had 16, Mangena had 2, and frankly 1 because the other one was irreparably damaged. Then Mnisi said he said the test bullets that he had to work on were of a weaker quality. Instead, he had to fire ammunition of a stronger quality. And the one which you yourself are saying have to fire for the test purposes. And Rose said he fired a CMJ bullet as well. Rofse said when an investigative officer brings an exhibit to the lab, it will be sealed in a bag. Then there is a paper slip that you fill in. One is torn off.
Sorry, Emil. Guys, I see we are almost hitting 600, but I see 200 likes.
Anqalile. Ha, guys. Yo, guys, naked we were missed because yesterday we were not live. Kanti!
You don't miss us.
No, we're not missed, ne? Might as well just
relax. So, someone's here saying that only cartridges were collected there, which I think the best thing would have been to ask that question.
Wow.
But the problem is that if you ask that question, this judge,
He's
regardless,
excited.
if it's you who's asking that question, it becomes a problem. If it's states that is asking that question, it's okay. You know, a state can go as many times to that case of Cleveland without what do you say? Then they say don't go
consequences.
without going deeper to that case. What is it? Without going into details.
Without going to details.
But when Mnisi said that without going to details, the judge is Mnisi. What do you mean if you say that I must not go? We must not. The person must not go into details. What do you mean? Why don't you ask that when Baloi says it? Because Baloi would allow that of Cleveland case and whatnot, and say without going into details. And then when Mnisi says without going to details,
it's on the record.
It's a problem.
It has to be emphasized.
It's a
it
problem.
has to be put on the record 5 times.
What do you mean? What do you mean? how guys,
And the defense are in trouble. Let that
I
go
don't care what you tell me about this judge. Something is not right, man. Something is not right. You can defend him, he's learned or whatnot. I don't care. But when we see biasness, we see biasness is biasness. Even in statistics, biasness is biasness. Biasness is when you oversample. For example, if you take a certain sample more than the other. Let's say you have 2 binary numbers that you have to work with, yes or no, or stuff like that, and then you take more of yes, less of no's. That is being biased. Your model of whatever that you get is going to come up biased.
Yes, it's going to
Simple
come
as
out
that.
looking
So
the way you
whether
want it
you
to.
are a lawyer, what biasness remains bias.
Well, Rolfer says that his job was to check if the firearm was in good working order and to put the test bullets from that particular gun in the seal bag for future references. He says that he didn't have any spent bullets to make marking comparisons between class and individual characteristics. At the time, he tested the firearm, and that was not his mandate. So Rolfer said that he was later able to positively compare the test from the firearm with spent bullets from the crime scene in the Alexandra case, which confirmed the spent bullets found in the Alexandra case crime scene had been fired from this firearm. Mnisi says, I examined the fired bullets and compared individual class comparisons and found that there are sufficient class characteristics but not sufficient individual characteristics, which could be because of the use of a different bullet material. Nisi then said, hence I took a decision for further tests with a bullet of the same material. Mangena said the bullet you used was of a weaker quality and that is why it needed to do further tests. The state objected, of course, and he said that's the opposite of what was said, okay? And Rofse said, my lord, can I say something? And Mnisi said, no. And the judge said, you don't want him to say it. Let the witness speak. Rofse said, I don't want to testify about Mangena's affidavit, but what he is saying is that the CMJ is softer than the FMJ, which is harder compound jacket. It would make sense to then fire the CMJ in this instance. The judge said, Mr. Mnisi, what should the court do when you elicit information about the Alexandra case? And Rofse said that is a firearm that matches 9mm cartridge cases from the Alex case crime scene. Then the judge said, Mangena says that the firearm he tested in this case, the judge to Mnisi said, I see you are smiling. Then Rofse said, yes, that is a firearm I tested in the Alexandra case. Mnisi then asked, I certainly don't have a problem with that, sir. That is not in dispute. And Mnisi said, my lord, I have no further questions. Ngumalo started with his cross-examination, right? And Rofse said that there may be exceptions, that the exhibits like in the Marikana matter are not sealed in exhibit bags. And Ngumalo considered that he understands that there are exceptions, and the judge noted the concession by Ngumalo. He said that's a statement. Rofse said, in the event that an exhibit tears for any reason, that should be noted on the SAP 13 form as well. So he mentioned that should an exhibit tear, then it must be written down, which would explain perhaps why Mangena wrote that open seal bag, just to.
Was this bullet ever tested since the brown envelope?
That is a question for Mangena.
Yeah, they should ask him. But they shouldn't ask him like that. They should say, was this bullet, before you tested it, ever tested according to you?
Hi.
And then when he says no, which most probably would say no, and then they must ask him if when he got it, was it inside the brown envelope
Or not.
or not?
So after the long adjournment, Warrant Officer Musia asking Ngumalo on the 26th of October 2014, he packed and sealed the exhibit, which was a fragmented bullet projectile, and Exhibit 1 is a bullet projectile. He then drafted a letter to the ballistic section of the Forensic Science Laboratory, wherein he requests the following. Please do the following investigation on Exhibit A1 and 1 to be examined for IBIS and kept for later possible comparison. And Musia further told this court that he forwarded by hand these exhibits on the 30th of October 2014. Now, is this the same lab that Rofse is in and Mangena is in? Because Ngumalo did ask whether him and Mangena work in the same lab, and he said yes. Right? So, what is that? Firstly, if that bullet is sent in, then it must come to ballistics. This is Rofse answering. And have somebody examine it. If it's only 2 bullets that's been sent in, somebody must examine it to see if it's the same firearm. Then that bullet can be sent to IBIS. So the question is,
Was it ever sent or
was
not?
it ever sent or not? That's the question we have. So Ngumalo then asked, so there must be a report that is sent to somebody, an expert, to examine the exhibit and compile the report. And Rofse said, yeah, I suppose it's the crime scene that Colonel Mangena did then. That bullet came in. So the second entry, those 2 bullets. So if he registered his crime scene and that 2 bullets came in, they should have seen that the crime scene was done by him and then sent it to IBIS. This person who examined the bullet projectile also has to examine it if it's damaged. Rofse said no, he will write it in his form and give a short description on what is the condition of that bullet. Ngumalo asked, the same person who examined the bullet projectile must determine if it's damaged. And Rosa said, yes, give a description of the condition. Ngumalo asked, I have not received that report and I'm still waiting for it. Rosa said, I can't comment on that. So what we are picking up here, I remember in the last live I was asking, where is the original scene? What do they call it? The ballistic investigation from the crime scene. The original one. Where is it?
Where he was doing a demo.
Yes. Where he was doing the reconstruction.
Yes, yeah, reconstruction.
Where is it? Where is the file? Where is the report? Because now Malo here is saying for the IBS, the one that Musia was recommending that they do at the lab, there's no report. He hasn't received the report. Okay, let me not say there's no, because it might be there and they could be sitting on it, who knows. But they haven't seen it. And people were saying, leave Mangena alone. I can't. I expect much more from him. I expect a lot from him. He's an expert. Okay?
As they say.
Yes. So I expect a lot more from him. So when you received the firearm on the 13th of February, the exhibit A1 and 1 were already at the ballistic unit, considering that Musia handed them over on the 30th of October 2014. And Rose said sometimes they can give those exhibits to other ballistic experts, and then he will do that case, and maybe the 2 bullets in that case, and then I will receive the firearm on a different case. Now, should this firearm do this test, I etch it and send it back. That is why I say I cannot comment on that. Maybe it might be there or not, I don't know. And the judge said, Mr. Ngumalo, where are you going with that question?
That's a threatening question.
Because I am following the evidence. You are talking of 2 different periods. The deceased was shot on the 26th of October 2014. This gentleman receives the docket of the Cleveland case the following year. So what is the problem?
Simple.
In what stage?
Where Ngumalo was going is these bullets, they came in, this gun came in 2015.
Yes.
The bullets, the evidence from Senzo's scene or that spaza shop,
Yes.
it was booked. Was it on the system already? If yes, why couldn't they have picked it up
And matched it, right?
and matched it? And again, the judge stopped it. Where are you going with this?
Yeah. So Robson said yes. The judge continued to say, and you only knew about it when Mangena elicits the lab number, which you examined, the firearm. Robson said, I examined it. Now I found out that he is testifying about it. They did the photo. I did the firearm. Now, here I was annoyed because I could not hear Rolf say what exactly he wanted to say. Did he just find out now that Mangena is testifying with regards to this case or what? I wanted clarity on that, but because the judge kept saying, yeah, yes, I could not hear Rolf say.
The judge was excited.
So the judge said, otherwise they don't know each other. And I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know that
This guy.
Rose and Mangena don't know each other? How do you know that, Judge?
Next thing you ask Rolf if he has a wife, the judge would say, no, he doesn't. I mean, do you know the guy? You know the other one that left there? I felt the irritation. Was it a doctor?
Yes, Steenkamp.
When he was making that first forensic findings, trying to show that he actually reads.
Oh, he knows about
Yeah,
what
the
he
guy
does.
the guy wanted to leave.
I was irritated, honestly speaking.
You know when someone is showing things like
And people that
That
do
you're not interested.
know
Yeah.
and vast experience. They don't like showing off. Their work speaks for itself, in my experience.
Yeah, you don't
Best
need to speak
people
too much.
Don't speak too much.
Like people who
Their
are
work
smart.
Speaks for
People who are smart, they don't
themselves.
speak too much.
No, they don't. The most excellent people at their job, they don't have time to be preaching to you about what they do on a daily basis. They just do it and you see results.
It's rare to think and talk. Most of the time, you can, like you just want peace. So if you can think and talk, that's a blessing. I think it's rare. You'll find few people who do that. Most people, they just like their quiet space. That's why when you
Brilliant
go to
people.
companies, business intelligence, it's a very quiet place. They don't want to be disturbed.
Well, Rosa said that he works with Mangena Church at the same lab. So he continued to say they know each other as experts in different cases, but they didn't know that. He didn't know about the Foslorus case. How do you know that? Did Rosa say that at any point in time? Did he? Did he say that he never knew about the Foslorus case? Okay, now so we can comment. Rumalo said, Warrant Officer, it's just that I don't want to pre-conclude. How come Rumalo taking a jab?
That's a jab.
I don't want to pre-conclude. I just want to ask this question. Then I will sit down. If Exhibit 1 was sent on IBIS, when was it going to be picked up? That there's an exhibit that was entered. And Rosa said, I can't comment on that, sir. I'm sorry, I can't comment. And the judge said in the background, he was like, If the result on IBIS, do you need a physical firearm? The firearm must be brought in, or do you just work on the exhibits that are on the IBIS? If you have stuff into IBIS, it will be 5 possibilities. If there's a link, then you must go and draw that IBIS. You must see if there's a match or not. The firearm should attest. Then the rest must be done by IBIS to read it through, stuff like that. So I can't tell you really if it's a hit or a match or not. Well, clearly, Rosa didn't want to answer this question. So, Malo continued, your results. That is the test cartridges and the bullets. Did you load them on the system?
You know, Emily, in my own thinking, see, the bullet they are testing against is not the bullet that was in the house. And if that is the case, that means then this is a bullet maybe that was done somewhere else, shot somewhere else, and then all of a sudden brought in here, which makes it difficult to even test for DNA and whatsoever. Do you understand? And then if that is the case, then that means we're dealing with a problem on top of the problem that we have. Because if it was shot, then the gun exists. Do you understand?
Yes.
And it could have been something that happened now. It could have been something that happened 2019. But it's something of recent if it was done. Do you understand? And that would mean it could even happen that they took this one. But for my own sanity and prayer, that if such theory exists, that they didn't take the same one.
Because remember how it was packaged in the seal bag, brown envelope and then seal bag. Niyakumbula, guys, according to Mhlahlo. But a brown envelope, but a seal bag ngaphezulu. So how would we know if it wasn't sweet? That's how it was kept. What lab kept it like that? And who kept it like that? 2 questions I have. Then Rolfse said, I sealed in a seal bag because one of them must go into IBIS, but I sealed them in a seal bag. Was it sent to IBIS, your results? Asking Malo. And Rolfse said, my results, I don't know if it was sent to IBIS, but I can find out for the court. Malo said, yes, please. We request for the court to find out whether it was sent on IBIS. And he concluded his cross-examination. Next up, it was Mshololo. And she asked, is it your evidence that you identified Exhibit 2 firearm by handwritten mark? And Rolfse said yes. Mshololo said, am I correct to say that there is no evidence that those marks were made by yourself? And Rolfse said, that's why I'm testifying today. That's why I came to court to say if the serial number on the firearm, there is a lab number engraved under the trigger guard. And Mshololo said, but we don't have that proof. Do we have proof of the condition of this firearm before you received it? And Rolfse said, proof is that I examined it and I put it in my 212 statement. And Mshololo said, I get that, but there's no proof. And Rolfse said, there wouldn't be such proof. Mshololo asked, yeah, there's no proof. And this gun was handled by more than one officer. And Rolfse said, when I examined it, I was the only one who handled it. And when I was done, I sealed it. Mshololo said, we don't have proof of who engraved that number since it was handled by so many police officers. The judge said, he says he wrote that number after doing the etching process. And Rolfse said that it doesn't matter how many people touch the firearm. He received a seal bag and it was written by him. He said when it came to him without the serial number, he engraved it on its trigger guard, a lab number issued by the system. So Mshololo asked, who allocates the lab number? And Rolfse said, lab number is connected to the station and the case number, and the system originates from the lab number. Then I will mark my exhibit according to that lab number. The lab number is allocated by someone else who is not yourself, asking Mshololo. Rolfse said, no, it's done by admin, not me. And then the judge fagazat some more and said, is it not allocated by the system? Not somebody else, of course.
You know, guys,
yes.
At that point, I was busy typing. I just lost appetite. You know, when you're about to eat, I just lost appetite. No, I'm being honest.
Ooh, and then Rolfse said there is a sticker that comes out. I don't have anything to do with the lab number allocation. And then Mshololo said, I'm just asking for clarity from you. From you, judge. From the witness. There is no evidence other than your word before this court that you are the one that allocated this serial number that is written here. That is your word. Only that is before the court. And Rolfse said, that is correct, my lord. After Mangena was done with the investigation on that firearm, he also sealed the exhibit. And Rolfse said, I don't know. I suppose so, yeah. The evidence before him was sealed by him. And Rolfse, there are other sealed bags, but he doesn't know who sealed them. This is Rolfse. He doesn't know who sealed them, but there are other sealed bags. In front of him, on that witness box, there were other sealed bags that he didn't know. Okay? Then Mshololo said, there are many CZ75 pistols. And Rolfse said, yes. And the barrels are interchangeable. Rolfse said, yes. Mshololo, and you cannot say if the barrel you used when you tested this firearm in 2015 is the same barrel Mangena tested in 2015. And Rolfse said, I shot a test in this firearm. And the judge was laughing. Mangena said, Mangena can come and testify to that, to say the barrel that I used when I tested it is the same barrel. The structure of the firearm can be the same, but only find that the barrel inside is another barrel, asking Mshololo. And Rolfse said, yeah, you can just replace the barrel if you want to. See how smooth this was going, Mr. Anonymous? Mshololo then said, only to find that the barrel inside is another barrel. And Rolfse said, that I won't know, but it's possible to change the barrels. And Rosa said, yes, it's possible. If Colonel Mangela made positive tests for this barrel with the crime scene bullets, then it tells to me that it's the same barrel. And the judge was laughing here. And in Mangela's report, the exhibit that starts with PA, he received from Rovse. What happened to the two? He had 16, asking Shololo. He had 16, while Rovse had 18. Did you hear that? And Rovse said maybe he used it for the test fires for CMJ. And then Shololo said, but he is receiving here. He has not yet done any examination. Then Rovse said that you must ask him. Isn't it interesting? It's very interesting that Rovse had 18 and Mangena said he received 16.
Mm-hmm. Where's the other two? But I heard that guy saying he shot some of them coming from those bullets. I think I heard him somewhere.
So he shot two. He shot two of them.
I don't know. I will check, man. I'm not gonna say.
What were the results?
I'm hoping that is not the case. Then someone must account for the two missing bullets. It's not a small thing. It's a big thing. They need to dwell on it. They definitely need to sit on it. That's the only proof they have right now because the judge is debunking everything.
Debunking everything, Bob. Uzanama textbook. Uzanama textbook.
Instead of compiling the evidence that is gathering in court, he's busy reading the
textbooks. Rosa said that he wouldn't know if the barrel had been interchanged. And Mshololo said, but it's possible that the barrels can be exchanged. And Rosa said, yes. Sometimes when you do the etching, the numbers cannot be clear. It can look like a star or a B or an 8. You know, it can
See, now
look
he's
like
not
an
sure.
8.
He's not sure now.
At least he's honest.
Yeah, but it was recorded there on record. I'm telling you, on record there, it was recorded as if he was sure the serial number was identified, not could.
So the question was, is there someone else who will help you confirm the numbers that you see, that they are correct? And Ruofse said he was alone at the time. But now the system has kind of changed. They have someone that they can ask. But at the time, he's the one and the only one who saw that serial number and confirmed it. And then Msholo asked, could the serial number tell you who the owner is? And Rosa said, once he has re-established the serial number on a firearm, he doesn't investigate who the owner of the firearm is. He says that that's up to the investigating officer to do.
So they identify this possibility of
a serial number.
And then how is Fidelity linked here then?
Actually, that is sitting with Mangena and Brigadier Kininta. They are the ones who did the identifying, right? Either of them. If he says investigative officer, then it's definitely Kininta, because he's the investigative officer for 636. Yeah. So, exhibits submitted by Musia and they were entered into the IBIS. Ruose says he has nothing to do with those bullets. And he says, I want to understand this. Where these cases allocated to you, or you just pick them up from the system. And Rofsa said they send the request to the admin people, then they give them different cases to compare it with. And the investigative officers are the ones who send the request.
Yes.
Asked if it's normal for a ballistic officer to book an exhibit from the SAP-13, come back and examine the same exhibit, Rose sounded very skeptical here. But
very skeptical, but the judge is not going to take that.
I haven't done it, but in my years, but there it can be done. I can't comment on that. And Mshololo said, but it's not an exceptional case like Marikana, because he mentioned that with Marikana it was an exceptional case. A lot of things did not happen according to procedure.
And the judge was like, But Zinxumalo who said, I accept that, Marikana. Do you accept it?
He's on record.
Eh? Do you accept it?
Oh, gosh.
What is he supposed to do? Rebuff it. So now there in court, you are supposed to say, you know, this judge worries me. When someone says, no, in fact, there is no arguments about that, like Mnisi. Do you accept that? So someone's not supposed to tell the truth.
No.
In that court. Yet you're saying the proceedings are not the chess game.
He wants them on defense mode at all times. Because when you are in defense mode, you can't do your best.
Yeah. You miss things. There are things that you should admit to.
So he wants to put them on that edge where they feel like they're...
No, if you have to admit to certain things, do. I mean, if they are not implicating you in a bad way, do.
Do. Be free. You are not lying, Mos.
Minimize, even if you were lying, minimize your lies.
So, do you know the importance of safeguarding the exhibits from being tampered with by other police officers when the firearm is being handled? Asked Mshulolo. Then Rosa said, yes, I know, but I suppose if Colonel Mangena did it, he must have signed out that firearm at the SAP-13 and kept it in his custody. If he had to do it that way, then he would have to have the officer sign on his diary or docket if it must be done that way. Remember, Mangena kept the exhibit of the firearm in his safe until now that it's currently being demonstrated in the trial from 2020. So Advocate Mshololo said, I have no further questions. Then Nxumalo wanted clarity on some points. And he said, I just want to understand you very well because this issue of a bullet projectile is very contentious in this case. You gave an explanation that based on a request by Warrant Officer Msia for Exhibit A1 and 1 to be on IBIS, there's supposed to be a report of the person who conducts the examination on the caliber of the bullet, whether the bullet had been damaged, and lastly, whether the bullet projectile and fragmented bullet was fired in the same or one firearm. And Rofsa said, I won't know because I didn't handle it. But if it was done in the normal way, it was supposed to be handed to somebody to do a caliber determination, see the damage on the bullet, and write a report on that if that's the only exhibits that were sent in the covering letter. So that is what is supposed to be or how it's supposed to be, but I cannot comment. I don't know what happened to that. I was not there. And Nxumalo then asked, after the examination of the exhibits, it will be sent to IBIS. And he said, yeah. Let us say that the exhibit 1, the tests were done. We don't have the report and sent on IBIS. When was it going to be picked up? And that there is an exhibit that was sent to IBIS. And Rofsa said, I can't tell you that because it is not my department. This was another way that Nxumalo tried to understand that why didn't the IBIS pick it up in 2015?
And
he didn't want to answer.
Look, that answer will never come out.
Then Mnisi rised after Nxumalo and Mnisi asked, you've just said that the barrel of the CZ75 is easily interchangeable. Yeah, lots of firearms you can interchange and put another barrel to get a barrel. You must have a serial number on the barrel. Then it must be done by a person that works with firearms and you must get papers of that barrel to be fitted to another firearm. If that barrel is short and worn out, you can't just buy a barrel and put it on. It's not easy. You must go through the legal process. This is what Rofse was saying. Okay, he says you can't just interchange a barrel. You have to go through a legal process, fill in a form. There are forms you must fill in before you can be able to get access to this barrel so that you can interchange it.
We mean black market.
And then the judge was like, the process in the background. And I'm like, this is South Africa, but why are you guys gonna speak like
This is the same judge who said
Amapoisa in South Africa?
yes, and is also from Gas and whatnot.
Oh, why are you gonna speak like people follow rules here? Like, why are you gonna speak like there's law abiding? Everyone is law abiding. He said that he had no idea if the barrels can be found in the black market.
Yeah.
He only knows the legal way. How? A whole forensic ballistic expert, not forensic.
Who should be dealing with this? Haven't you had a case like that?
Hi, guys.
Haven't you had a case like that?
Where you could see that the barrel, let's give an example. Have you had a case where the barrel was gray and the rest of the gun was black or something?
No, even if... Have you ever had a case where you were testing someone's gun and it comes back negative?
Have you?
But you are told exactly that this person
This is
did
the firearm that
Yes.
did it. So, fact of the matter is that Colonel Mangena made it positive. This is what Rofse was saying, the bullets. So it means that it was the same barrel. So the judge said, are we talking about this firearm called Exhibit 2? Because I listened very carefully. And then Mnisi said, yes. And the judge said, Mnisi explained the scenario that the barrel could have been changed at the time that Mangena booked it out for 6 days in 2020. And Rose agreed but wanted to explain and said you can ask Colonel Mangena to compare these 5 cartridge cases with the test that he found when he received that firearm. If he makes that positive with this because of his chamber marks on the cartridge case, if it's the same as my test, then it's the same barrel. That process right there that Colonel Mangena came to make a conclusion of yours and his being similar. So, yeah, Mnisi told him that his cartridges and test bullets could not assist him. He had to fire extra bullets for test purposes, but he specifically did not use yours. And the judge said, you see, Mangena never testified about barrels in this court. Never about the fact that they are interchangeable. He never said that. This witness was asked about barrels by Ms. Mshololo, and the expert said, yes, they are interchangeable. So leave that. Question for Mangena, please. Otherwise, Sidlalifa famous. Like, Mshololo then said the blue box you testified that you're identifying it now as the handwriting of the side of that box. And we don't have any specimen of your handwriting to compare with the handwriting. Am I correct? And Rolfse said, I can look at my docket, but you don't have the expert to confirm it. And the judge laughed. So the state had no re-examination. However, the judge had one. He had a re-examination. The judge said a barrel is a firearm mechanism. He made Rolfse read a relevant section of the act, right? And he read it to Rolfse. And the judge asked Rolfse to dismantle the barrel that was right in front of him in the court. Of course, he added, this is not a homemade device like they do in KwaZulu-Natal.
You know,
they manufacture their own firearms, and I know because I have handled cases regarding that. Guys. The shade. Aishem. And all the accused are from KZN, Kanakwe.
And most lawyers actually there are Zulus.
Haditabi. He's shady. Okay?
So the modus of operandi is that when the witness is contradicting themselves, the witnesses are contradicting each other, in fact, they must just say that the other one will come and clarify.
The state had no re-examination, but he re-examined on their behalf. Isn't that nice? He says you don't have to have some expertise to manufacture that. So Roloff said that it would be difficult to manufacture that. It's not easy to manufacture a barrel.
So the states, in fact, it seems like they are hell-bent into this thing of moving away from the revolver, bringing the pistol so that they can nail these guys.
Yeah. But here's the thing here. If you paid attention, no one asked if the barrel can be replaced with a homemade one. The question was asked if or whether it could be replaced. Especially more or less with the ones found in the black market, not homemade ones. So, Judge, I don't know what is happening. Okay. And he said that he read a book by firearm experts from the USA who are also professors, and quoted from it. And it said, and I quote, "Many published studies have demonstrated that no firearms produce the same unique marks on fired bullets and cartridge cases. This is even true for firearms of the same make and model. What is your comment?" And Rofsa said, "I would say that's true, my lord. That's a scientific fact." Does he even realize, Mr. Anonymous, that he has just debunked the entire testing method used at the ballistics labs of South Africa with this textbook of his? The defense must definitely look into arguing at a later stage with him on record reading from that textbook. Because why? So also the machining of the manufacturing, this is still from that textbook, of the machining of the manufacturing process of the combined with the use of the firearm leaves surface marks on the metal parts of the firearm that are not reproducible on other firearms. These marks...
And it has nothing to do with that.
...are transferred to the bullets and casings when discharged from the firearm. Rosa said, "That's correct, my lord. That is devar. That is the truth. Because there are no practical methods."
And he speaks Little Afrikaans to show us that, hey, I've learned well from my mistake.
On the inner surface of a rifled weapon. I'm like, hey, banna, sesifaka nama rifled. With the striations of a fired reference bullet of the same make, style, and caliber must be created by firing from the questioned firearm. Is that how you do it? Asking Rofse, and he said yes. Not only would cutting the barrel open be impractical, but the comparison would then be positive. The barrel and negative, which is questioned, the bullet impression. But here's the thing here. Your textbook is talking about cutting the barrel, not replacing it. Then Rolf went on about how every gun is unique and how long the firearm worked. Those are the unique marks that they will produce. So you must have a bit of knowledge about firearms to change barrels. This is what the judge was saying. Now, I'm like, why is he undermining criminals by saying that they don't have enough knowledge to be able to change a barrel? You must have a space. Do you think Nkabis and criminals don't know how to do that?
They definitely know.
How, Abanna? How, guys? And then I want to ask as well, is this not some type of leading? Because I know Advocate Balloy would not be getting away with this. There'd be objections, right? Is this not some kind of leading of a witness? I mean, it doesn't feel right. It's my first time seeing something like this being done by a judge. So, yeah, Rosa asked if he can send the IBs to Ngumalo, that Ngumalo asked for, to Colonel Mangena. And the judge insisted that he sent them via Colonel Mangena, while Advocate Ngumalo refused. The state says that the witness can communicate with them. Well, Ramosipele asked for Capitec bank statements of the accused number 2 to be specific. He said that he's been asking for them a bank statement since the 22nd of November last year, and he's been sent from pillar to post, and he has not received them. It's vital for his defense. Ballo said that he's surprised that his learned colleague is sharing this in open court. We said this information will be forwarded to him. And then as we explained to him that the reason for the delay was that it's been almost a year, guys. He asked for those bank statements last year. For those who don't know, last year, November, he still hasn't gotten them. And they said that they will assist. They gave him everything. He does say that they gave him everything except for those bank statements. Then Rab Musipili said, I'm sorry to do this. I didn't mean to throw him under the bus. But the judge said he's already dead. Oh, my God. Rab Musipili said, I've already did. I've put the Patco bus over him. So, yeah, he's saying that the problem is that his client is jumping up and down and thinks that he is not communicating or conveying this message enough. So,
yeah, convey the message. Baloi can come after the case and give you that. Hey, give Baloi mutu.
It's been almost a year now. Oh.
He can come, he can come and give you the statement when the case is about to finish. My lord, we have just finished it.
Hi guys, you can call in. I see you've been bending and I've been. How many likes do we have?
We have 300 and it's not enough. My lord, you see the problem. We have just finished the bank statement as requested by my learned friend. We hope that it will assist the court. Can we hand in this statement as exhibit last?
Sure.
That's the man. Yeah, guys, before I take calls, I see someone is calling. Can we push the likes to 400, guys? Yeah.
We are begging for likes, okay, guys. It's still back to regular programming, okay? We're begging for them likes. We want you guys to like
I'm
the
gonna
video.
take your calls. I don't mind taking your calls.
Like the video and please like the video.
You see, my lord, we just had a glitch. See, Lorraine kept the bank statement, so we had to. Zanzi, hello.
Hello, Martin Emily, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yes.
I just want to encourage you guys. I can see that everyone has lost it now. There are 2 or 3 things that the lawyers did today that, to me, Mangena and this guy helped the case defense. The first thing is that they agreed that when Mangena received the gun or that bag, it was open.
Yes.
Again, it was agreed that there are 2 that's missing in that bag.
Yes.
That we are saying that Mangena, when it has to use.
Yes.
And again, remember, this guy that was trying today said they are being given bullets to use for testing.
Yes.
Then you can also go to receptionist. You mentioned, I might not get the word correct. If you don't have the right bullets, you can go as far as going to the receptionist. They will give you the ones that you don't have. So you don't have to use any bullets. You can use the bullets that are allocated for that. Those 2 points were proven today.
Yes.
I was happy when Mshororo asked that question because it's a question that made me happy. And it might look like, sorry to take long, it might look like the judge and Ballistics are winning. They're not winning the case. The defense confused them today. They focused on the gun being swapped and all the stuff. That's where the judge dwelled on and forgot to interrogate these 2 points, because this is the context of the case. Remember, in Sibiya, according to his pocket book or big book, he lied under oath. That it cannot be changed. So when you take the bullets and the gun being opened, you go back to Sibiya, the envelope that he used. That's why you're going to take these 2 things and connect to Sibiya's evidence. If Sibiya lied about everything, so it can't be trusted with the evidence that he took to the Ballistics. And if he can't be trusted with that evidence, and remember, he said he took those things to the police station, and according to the car that he was using that day, it shows that he never went to the police station that night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so meaning he went home. Meaning he went home with those bullets. He didn't go to the police station. He only registered them in the morning. So, and there is a way he went that we don't know. Where did he go? Because he lied and he said he went to a certain case that he attended during the day, but before that case. So he lied under oath. That cannot be changed. So coming to that evidence, I think the angle that they need to take now, because here the gun is not the gun. The gun is the same gun that was found with the accused number 3. But what they did, they went and shoot 2 bullets from that gun. The first bullet they did shoot, I am alleging, they did shoot on the floor to damage it. And the other one, I don't know how did they shoot it so that it doesn't get to be damaged. Those 2 bullets are the bullets that they took from that container that they got. So they planted. So they exchanged with the bullets that Sibiya brought to the submitted in that envelope. That is why they can't talk about the DNA. Because if they were to talk about the DNA, we're going to take the evidence today and test them ourselves. We're not going to get the DNA. So that's why the story of the DNA will never be told, because it won't correspond with the bullets that they have planted now. But it is easy for the defense will prove that DNA on the blade was not done, and the excuse that is being given is a lousy excuse. You test and don't get the result. That's when you can come and say, we didn't get the result because of the chest, because of that. But you cannot come and justify why you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So, yeah, I'm still happy about the case.
Okay. We hear you.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, a little bit of hope.
Even with the letter, with the book that was written by experts like Rufus, that the judge took liberty of reading and going deeper, preparing for the court.
But those are written by people who are questioning the method. That's the funny part.
Exactly. And use those
people, you can see that what they're trying to say is that this process of shooting different bullets, it's not accurate.
Yes, basically. And if you don't read it, if you're gonna be told by the judge, Zanzelo.
Hi, Mr. Anonymous.
Hi, sir, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm just going to be brief. Tell me, hi, Emily.
Hi.
When they got the gun from the store, it was in the exhibit bag open.
No. Oh,
it was not open.
You mean
he recorded that it was open.
By Mangena.
Mangena, yes. Mangena recorded.
It was open.
Yes.
But remember, the clerk, the storeroom clerk.
Yes.
He said there's no way that the evidence can come out of the store open in an evidence bag. You remember?
I do.
And he even said the ballistic won't accept the gun in an exhibit bag open.
Yes.
So now there is a problem there. The store like is saying the gun can be in an exhibit bag open. He definitely said that.
Yes.
And he was quite sure that not from me, unless if I was not working here. But if it was me working here, it can be go to ballistic open. So I think defense has got a question to these people. The state needs to answer something there. Some needs to tell the truth. Because if it's like that, then something's not right.
Something's not right. Your record.
Yeah, something's not right. Yeah, the guy said the gun can leave me in an exhibit bag open. So.
He did.
Yeah. Otherwise, guys, have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
He did. Charlie
Guys, let us
emphasized.
like the video.
Emphasized.
Let us
At me,
subscribe.
never.
Let us like the video. Let us subscribe.
If it comes in an open seal bag, yeah.
So you
can be
trust
sad.
Njal more than the ballistic expert who's decorated like that.
Ballistic expert yena ubhale ku affidavit mathatha athi it was open.
No, you should have asked this guy because he's the last person to close it. Did you perhaps leave this thing open?
Which guy?
This one. Remember, you said it's his bag that you...
Oh yes, they should have asked him that. That did you leave it open?
Nancy, hello.
Molweni apho ninjani?
Siyaphila njani?
La.
Shap khole sehlika ndinqabile bangane bam.
Yeah, sinqabile.
Ndikhona ndimamela every day, but sometimes mina neqala at that time not suppose I'm starting to work, so I don't have time at that time, you see, because I'm in another country, as you know.
Yes.
Lego Island.
Yeah, hayi man. Hey wena uzondibambisa. Uzondibambisa wena.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Mamela Mr. Anonymous.
Yebo.
Mangiqale kule ndawo. Ndikhe ndafunda ndabona into ebhalwe nguKheli ethi wenza usenzo ukuthi abe famous.
Yeah.
Yazi, to be honest, mna mhlambi ke kuba ndisuke emakhaya or stuff like mna zange ngamazi uKheli Khumalo. Oyena ngimaziyo sense before ndazi uKheli.
Yeah.
But ke asikho lapho ngoku.
Yeah.
Uyabona le charge eziba ndisithi kuwe ngoba ndinqabile nje, not that andimameli okanye andibukeli ii-videos or stuff ndikhona, but sometimes I like to listen kwabanye abantu, yabo. But I think it's Friday today. I'm not sure if it was after Vegin or last week. There was a caller in the city. No, Mr. Anonymous. You'll be surprised. Le charge. Don't think ukuthi yenza ngolhlobo ucinga ngalo and stuff. Le charge. He can surprise us and stuff. There was a caller like
yes, siyamkhumbula.
Yes. I don't agree with that caller. Mna xa ndiyijongile le charge. I'm not saying that caller was wrong or what, but the way ndiyijonge ngakhona, mna ndihamba nawe the way you feel about him, ujudge.
Yeah.
Uyangixolela I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now what I'm thinking is uyabona le test bayenzile about the bullet. I think that bullet ila bullet yase Alexandre. Lebenze ngayo la test.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking. But what I want to ask you guys, I'm not sure, but anyway, yonke lento siyithethayo mos it is alleged.
Yes.
Now, what I want to ask is, uChiko Twala, ingabe wakhe walahlekelwa igani okanye wabelwa igani?
Hey, yabona leyo ndaba leyo.
Hey, asazi noma unayo. uChiko
No. There was interview.
Wabakhona
confirm khona ukuthi ugani unayo or wayenayo. There was interview. That I'm sure about.
Ikhona uqinisile. Abakhona amahemhem kanjalo. Kodwa ke futhi waphinde futhi wayiqhelelanisa nawo. Ukuthi hayibo akaze lahlekelwe yena ilokhuzana.
Igani. Okay, kula interview oyenzile, did he confirm ukuthi igani anayo yiphi?
Angiyazi igani yakhe.
Okay.
Nami ngisaba ukuphawula.
Okay, no, it's fine, guys. No, it's fine. I thought maybe ukhona apho athi igane yakhe was missing and stuff. Yeah. But if aniyazi, that means akunjalo. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Now, xa ndisiya kula question ukuthi can you use a 9mm bullet on a 38 special? Yes, you can. If 9mm cylinder iyafumaneka kwi-38 special or ikwazile ufakelwa kwi-38 special or either way around, meaning uthathe isilinda ye 38 special uyifake ku-9mm, then you can use i-bullet ye revolver on a 9mm special, but using i-cylinder ye 38 special on a 9mm.
Bayakuphikisa. Ake sibanikeze ithuba bengene nawo bezochazela into. Bayakuphikisa bathi hayi.
Bayakuphikisa ukuthi ayikho leyo nto. No, it's fine. It's fine mabephikisa, but mina ngithetha into engiyaziyo ukuthi isilinda ye 38 special can take a 9mm bullet. But anyway, it's fine. So the last thing that I want to say is ilento bengineva nethetha ngayo ukuthi befanele ukuthi kubekho imali ezibethwayo for I think ingathi bengithetha ngama lawyers and stuff. I just so wish it can happen. And maybe I can be the first one to contribute to that, because I just want the family to Senzo ukuthi ifumane into eyideservayo on this day.
Okay. No, sikuzwa kahle. Siyabonga.
So if ikhona into eyenzeka enjalo, uEmily ngizomcela abhale pha ngolihlobo acela ukwenza ngalo, because I always
yes.
Yeah, uzokwenza njalo.
Please.
Siyabonga.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Siyabonga.
Bye.
Asenzeni kanjena ukuze kuzoba fair. So I'm gonna try. So what this guy is saying, ukhwele sehlika, uthi it's saying that you can actually use
a cylinder of a revolver,
on
a
9mm. Yes, and some people are saying obviously it's not the case. I'm trying to translate. What else did he say? He says he believes that the tests were done on the bullets maybe that were found there in the Cleveland case. Alexander case, yes. So what else did he say?
Also asking about Chico.
Whether he has what type of a gun he is, and then what type of a gun does he own, and that then we didn't answer. Then he talked about the issue of funding GoFundMe. If they happen to create it, then he says he'll be the first one to, and obviously we'll update you if there's something like that. I think I've covered everything. Now Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Ninjani.
Sikhona njani?
Siyaphila, nikhuluma noPhumeza aka Onathi Macheke kuchat. Nama just submitted my assignment manje ngathi angilani.
Yes.
So sengimlinde.
Yes.
Okay, my 2 cents nje ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi ezi documentaries nezi interviews zenzayo zisinceda kuphi if they are not relevant to the case court, ngoba kaloku the truth lies there. Labantu bakhuluma amaqiniso phana but ukuthi hayi into i-PSA is what not my lord and this angeke zikhulunywe lana. So zisinceda kuphi, zenzelwa ntoni? Is just uMzansi Bioscope or sibukela i-cartoons lapha? Because ifana kaloku fanele bezazi into bazithetha pha aba-actor abantu i-reality fanele bezazi into ziyasetyenziswa ecourt but ke andiwazi umthetho but ke bizasinceda ke Mzansi. Eyesibini into kule Cleveland or ntoni ye-Alexander, if le gun kuqaba yiyo le ehlanganiswa kulento kule case kaSenzo, masithi yiyo ke, why they don't put accused number 3 on the scene? Sibone ukuthi accused number 3 kule scene nale gun yakhe kwenzeke ntoni, because apparently ibingumfana onedress omnyama wahamba nalo mde yangu 1 on 2 ngoba ehlele egcwele ngoku semhlophanyana ngoku seyellow boat. So ke ngoku unukwazi ukuthi umnisi afayithele into ayaziyo, singabe kubizwa bo ballistic nabontontoni for 5 weeks, makafakwe on the scene ukuthi okay yegani ifunyenwe pha eCleveland, wafika ke ngoku kwenzeka ntoni, umnisi asebenza into ayaziyo so that u4 no5 sibone ungenaphi. They just wasting our time. So they're confused ngalo Cleveland nabontontoni, sengazi noba wayemhlophe noba wayemnyama nalo muntu wayengene endlini ngolone dress wayemzeno wayemhlophe. Ininzi into ezibhekayo pha ebe right leyakhola isithi rinyaka kelimo azo rinyaka kelimo ayisekho le yabo Cleveland and Alexander omunye wamhlophe ngoba beseyiseli ngaphakathi semhlophe manje kodwa eqaleni bengu Sibiya ngokusengu hayi bafethu nje hayi ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga. Thank you.
Kona is too much.
Emily, this is yours now.
I feel like the aim is to confuse us.
Can
because
you
wow,
interpret?
I'm worn out. Where do I start? What did he say at what did she say at the beginning? What are
these interviews for?
Oh, what are all these interviews for if they are not gonna be used?
I think it's cross-examination. Is it? Oh, the interviews outside from outside.
Of the Netflix.
The Netflix
of the documentary. Why are we? Are they acting or what? Because
they say
this is
something
this is their reality. Yes, they say something on the documentary, and then when they got to the court, they say something totally different. So if they are not gonna pull them interviews at the documentaries, then what's the point? Because they come in there and they change their tune.
Yes.
And then another thing also is that she shares the same sentiments of a caller we once had, where they were saying we want Kelly to come and testify because all of these ballistic what are just a waste of time. And honestly, they're creating more confusion because they're not telling. Why can't they just put accused number 3 on the scene?
Okay. This one calls and drops.
Why can't they just put accused number 3 on the scene and tell us that this is how he did it and all of that?
Hello.
Ntanzi Reality, hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Emily. Hi, Mtana.
Hi.
Okay, Ngulufate, a quick one.
Hi, Lufate.
Hey,
Welcome
Lufate.
back.
Come back.
You've been missed.
Yeah. Just to add on what Onati has said.
Yes.
Ubaloyi has a very easy job here.
Yes.
Place the accused on the scene. Place a guy. The fact that they haven't tested the bullet for the DNA, how are they going to prove that is the same bullet that killed Senzo? And also, they need to prove the DNA of the accused on the gun itself or somewhere in the house. So that's what Ubaloyi needs to do. He must just stop all this nonsense, like calling all these other witnesses.
Yes.
So for me, if he can do that, and I think it will be very difficult, especially with the bullet, because he cannot prove that bullet is the same bullet that killed Senzo. It may be a bullet that was fired from that gun, well and good, but now he needs to prove that the gun was fired there with that bullet through Senzo. That's all from me. Thank you, guys, with a good job that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
In fact, why are they saying this is the bullet that penetrated Senzo?
To have a case.
No. Why? What proof do they have that this is the bullet? There were 3 bullets that were shot there in the house. No one knows which bullet shot Senzo. Today we are arguing about the bullet. Nothing proves that.
They are
Hello.
convincing us that it
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Mtani.
Good.
I'm good, thanks. So,
Yes. We're all good.
hi, Emily.
Hi.
Okay, guys, one fish on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think it was 2 days back when that other ballistic guy was doing his thing.
Yes.
He said something about, no, he didn't take for gun residues because really everyone is going to have some pouch and don't it was irrelevant, right? Because they touched Senzo, picked them up, put him in the car. Okay, cool. I accept that. However, Muntu, who was present in the house but wasn't present because he was shot, meaning he's the one person who was supposed to be tested whether or not he has gun residue on that particular day, to rule out this analogy or story of which he ran out and wada. Because if he tests positive, then it begs the question, Johnny, because we know you went in the house.
Yeah.
So how are you? You know what I'm saying? So I think they didn't, it's not fair, basically, the way that they're viewing the criminals, I would say criminals versus victims, where the people in the house are viewed more as victims, and the people that are currently in the dock are sort of like, because they have criminal history. Things like, things are very unfair, where it's done. But at the end of the day, even the people that are inside the house, like Ulonge with his contradictions in these interviews that he was doing, the people in the house saying different things, that alone is more than enough to raise an eyebrow to be like, okay, we need to sit down with these people, you know what I'm saying, and like, have them answer certain things as people that were in the house. You can't say one thing. You were in the house. You're the one person that we should trust with the best information. And about five, you can get different. Like, it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And I think, in my opinion, nalaba abakhona manje ababhanqe bonke as one thing and have all of them answers to all the questions that we have and the court has and all the different things,
Yes.
So and just have everyone ruled out and have, I think one of the legal experts at the end of the interview, Ian or whatever that channel was called, he was saying, put every single one of them and then have them drop just have them prove they're innocent. You know what I'm saying? So this thing of privilege, I hate it so much, where you're viewing certain people as certain titles. I look at Oscar. Oscar used to be like a big person, whatever. But they had to drop all those titles that he had and view him as what he is, which is whatever that he did with Viva and all those different things. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way to get justice. Island about Zaman. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Yo, guys.
Right. You guys are shooting your shots. The shots are shots.
Can't believe we are here, but we have to soldier on.
Yes. Yes, the good question is, why are those who were in the house, if they are suspected at some point, not in jail, even if then there's a mastermind? Mzanzi, hello? Mzanzi, hello?
Hi, Missy. I don't know how are you.
Good, and you?
Very well. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Right, man. Hey, guys, I don't know whether I must say I'm confused or not, but this judge is confusing.
Hey.
It is too forward. What he said today is when it comes to the barrel and the gun, when you can change. He said a person who is the expert is the one that can change the barrel of the gun. That's nonsense. If you have a gun, they teach you how to assemble the gun, how to disassemble the gun. And you are not the expert of doing that. If you have the same gun with the same model, you can swap the barrel. It doesn't need you to be the expert of it. This judge is too forward.
2 for what?
It is too forward.
180.
Yeah, hey man, you just that guy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The judge is on the highway.
Hey.
Yes, the judge is on the highway. That is true, according to my thinking, obviously. It's hearsays. That what we say here is hearsay.
It's hearsay, allegedly.
It's hearsay. If you want to take us on, you can, but it's here. It's not admissible. Mzanzi, hello. Hi, sir, how are you?
Ngiyaphila man, hayi ngiyaphila. Otherwise it's a week of confusion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and oyena muntu confused kakhulu ujudge man. Because zonke ezi-expects ezi akaziniki le chance uba maziphendule imibuzo ngale ndlela abaziphendula ngayo. And I've been saying this guy has been glorified kakhulu and given zonke izititle bano as a good judge, the nonsense taker, doesn't take any nonsense whatsoever. But if you look now, he's actually interfering with how the evidence is presented by witnesses. And now the councillors are quasi to cross the witnesses. For example, if you have a line of questions online, for example, normal every day, every time when there's a witness in the stand, you will end up into a line of questions because of judge and because normal speaks on Ilantoka, the statement are cool. Uses the statement more than the give of okay.
Yeah.
Like the one that are presented in court.
Yeah.
Because the statements are the ones that have Indonesian.
Yes.
and the truth.
Yes.
Because it's what you have written while everything was still fresh, you think to decide and like, and you cannot miss out the details.
Mm.
So for me, the judge in the answer is actually ruining this case. I think you can see now the eyes on the Lapan. Furthermore, one thing and fundamental. If you look at how the evidence, the gun, and also the projectile, the spoiled bullets, and all of that, all of those things, when they were handed in court.
Yes.
They were handed in court, and therefore, what if the defense wanted to test those exhibits? Because they have a new way to say, okay, we are going to take this to our experts. We want these exhibits to be taken to our experts so that we can run our test and see whether we come to the same conclusion or not. But now, all of that has been contaminated because the bunch of Mizanda they are taken out of exhibit bags.
In the car.
They were not supposed to open them up there.
They were not. They were not
The
supposed
case
to
is
open
not
them.
done.
The case is not done. And now, if the defense wanted to test for DNA for Senzo to build a profile that is there on those exhibits, and also to rule out the accused number 3, they could have done that if they wanted to, because the DNA would still be there. And you can look at documentaries how in America all of this kind of they resolve like cold cases. They actually resolve cold cases like that. You know? So now they've contaminated the evidence. They've contaminated.
No.
So the approach and the style is actually to destroy anything that has to do with testing of DNA further.
Wow.
You know, so that's my worry. And now, with what transpired today, there are 2 bullets that are missing. And they are coming with 2 bullets in court, saying that they're coming from the same firearm that was discovered in the house of accused number 3.
Yes.
So if you look into that, it's a jackpot for it. It's a jackpot, but I know the judge is going to make sure that that does not find a room in his court, because he wants what he wants. That guy has made a conclusion, if you can see, and he pushes like how the evidence must be presented and everything to his direction that he wants. And when he said that, you can see that the court has made a conclusion.
Decision.
You see, because you could see that you are unable to find a space to breathe in court. So, guys, with those 2 aspects, the charge and also the contamination of the evidence for court, it's very worrisome. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I think that caller deserves a round of applause, because I had not even thought about that whole tampering that was happening the day before yesterday.
And the guy does not care.
I did not think. But going forward, what's there to test?
No, nothing. It's done.
How many people held those exhibits with their bare hands?
Only the witness were not given. The defense.
The defense.
To touch it.
So it's already contaminated. Ziyakhala.
Yeah. So, as remorseful day. There was a war against our own family grief. The sadness of this black attire should be disarmed. The veil, as thus faults are bred, that may be urged. Hey, I don't know. I just read something else. But guys, let us like the video. Let us share the video. Let us subscribe. There's someone who's been calling. I would have closed it now. But all the time this person calls, there's someone who's on the call.
Talking.
Yes. If your surname...
See, we are fair here. We can even call you back if you see that you are persistent. You know?
So if your surname starts with a D, then you can call, because that's the person that is keeping me here. So guys, well, I'm counting down. So let me Sizwe Mkaka, as usual. Always here. I'm sure you use this as you sleep. Mimi, hello. Hey, I've never read Mimi. Michael, and then Ntuli Tools. That Ntuli Tools is a regular. Claudia, and then I have Lefate, Zuki, Langs, Baloi, Baloi. I always Baloi channel. I always, every time I read you, I just think of my Lord. And then I have, but I know that Vusmusi, no Sicelo, and then Queenie. Let me see. Siabulela. Those are people who are on the chat. Stelwy. Eunice. Dan. Maria. Fanuel. Dogozo. Florence. And then there's Ketelo. Faith. Pumzi. Farai. Zakele Lipas. That's a big star in South Africa these days. Halan. Yeah, so tomorrow, guys.
Tomorrow, I think Monday.
No, I'm saying tomorrow. Kaizer Chiefs is playing against Sundowns. I cannot leave without saying that. And I'm not a supporter of Kaizer Chiefs. I only support Orlando Pirates. But to Masandawana, I would like to apologize for Kaizer Chiefs in advance. Do not do it too much. 2 goals, still respectable for a team like Kaizer Chiefs. So please, take care of our neighbors, our noisy neighbors, our kids.
The shade, honey, the shade. The shade. The shade to them Kaizer Chiefs fans. Disappoint them. Win.
Let me read this one. Hi, SA justice system is messed up. Seems all the police, the so-called professionals and judges are all corrupt. Allegedly, this is all a waste of people's time. The people who were present in the house should be the first suspects, period. Those people actually saw Senzo being shot and they didn't seek help. And that's on WhatsApp. Yes. And then, let me see. Yeah, Sandawana, we will meet you on finals, obviously. That's where we will meet.
Korea convinced that Kaizer Chiefs, they're not going to the final. What if they shock you? What if they surprise you?
Why? What can they shock me? Wouldn't take. What was that guy? We don't know. We don't know what is going on. They don't even know. You can ask them. They are here.
It's definitely interesting.
You can ask them. They are here, chilling here. They don't even know what style they are using. Whether it's total football, whether it's counter-taking type of football, whether they are just winning by Ncubisi and that's it. They won 2 games and then they are saying we want Man City. Kaizer Chiefs.
No.
They were laughing at our kid. Guys, it was nice being with you guys. I just want to say it's a bye from me. Yes, I'm an Orlando Pirate fan. Hey, if you know football, Chiefs is for people who even Sundowns is for people who started supporting football 2000. Pirate is for people who are hardcore, die-hard people who understand soccer.
Wow.
Let me hear this one. Zanzelo, before I leave. Zanzelo?
Mr. Anonymous.
Yes, sir.
Let me disappoint you.
Yes.
Kausane history will be made. Ntuli will beat Sundowns. And I'm telling you, after that, I'll make a date with you and I'll buy you a nice bottle of something.
Take this one, Zanzelo.
I supposed to support.
No, I'm not lying. I will come back here on Monday. I'll be here, obvious. Then I'll remind you that I told you.
Aye. Vakeleli pasa halat what? No. Aye.
As a leading goal scorer of South Africa, mas.
Yo, usema sivile on Sunday, usema sivile. But I can't keep those goals.
I don't talk about people who don't even understand their style of football. they just play tum. It's like ping ball. It's like ping ball. Boom, goal.
No, Mr. Anno. This style of football, the most football is about winning the game. So I can't get some but they are scholar.
Yeah.
Sesiphumile showini okanye siseseshowini
sizila showini siyaqeda manje siyaphuma people just okay. they should just know. I just wanted to tell everyone that tomorrow okay. I will be with you guys. I will grieve with you, and then on Sunday I know you'll be against me because you guys are like that.
Nakhona sefika ngeke ngibe against you because ngifuna wena mina on the final ngifuna wena.
You remember what happened when you said Pirate come and then Pirate came. I was at FNB and then
I still remember. You don't have to remind. Ngithi mina ngifuna wena sohlangana. Mamela futhi. Yazi into ezicingayo into.
Yeah.
Each and every time I see these guys, they defend the question and my witness.
Yeah.
What I've seen, babonakala bemoyika no charge.
Yeah.
Each and every time, if you watch the case live, they always look at him. And the way about Jonga corner, they are like sort of asking themselves, ukuthi ingaba ndibuza into right on the way babona ngakhona. Yabo? Of which I really don't like this thing. I'm not sure if they're scared of this charge or but mandiyeke futhi kodwa ke Sunday ukubonisile ukuthi uyidle kanjani ile team ile Stellenbosch ne.
I must play no style. No, okay, I hear you. I will try to play no style.
You must play the way I played.
No structure. No structure.
Bye.
Okay. No structure. Kaizer Chiefs, the goals. They're coming and they just pray. And then, boo! Thank you guys. It's a bye. Friday was nice, chilled. Let's hope that Monday is going to be better. And they're bringing us a better... Hey, Mapiri. Rebatla Mapiri, in fact. That's what...
Rebatla Mapiri.
If you're not gonna bring us people who are in the house, bring us Mapir. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.